All right, everybody, welcome to the show. This is Angie E with Tip the Tea. I have a special guest on the show today, Will Sutton. He's the host of his radio show slash podcast, and we're going to get ready to get into the show, and we're going to talk about, I forgot the name of your show again.
The Open Field with Bill and Will.
Okay, the Open Field with Bill and Will. So let's get into talking about that. First, I would like to introduce him, and we're going to get into the show from there. How you doing, Mr. Will?
Good. How you doing?
Good
Thank you
to
for
have you
having me.
here.
Thank you
Good.
for having me on the show. Thank you.
Right, okay. So we're going to get a little bit. First, I want to talk about your show. Let's elaborate a little bit about your show. And what is it about? How do you?
Well, this Bill and I, we pretty much talk sports updates for an hour. We're working on something for Fridays where we do 2 hours. But right now, we're just pretty much talking sports, everything that's going on in the sports world, from baseball, basketball, hockey, soccer.
But yeah.
You know, we talking about everything. So, but stay tuned to our next show coming up Friday for 2 hours.
time?
Well, not this Friday. I'm sorry, not this Friday, but we're working on something for Fridays for 2 hours. So,
Okay,
still figuring out time. So,
I'm going to make sure I tune in. What station is it?
it'll be the Chicago Sports Town Network.
Okay.
So we'll be going through that, and then from there on, we'll get more and more visitors and more, people coming in to sit down and chat with us.
Yeah. That's what's
So
up.
if you got any guests, anybody want to stop by, have them come on, stop by.
Okay, I
We
might
talk
be the
everything.
first one.
We talk everything.
Okay, that's what's up. Okay. And also, I heard you was doing some researching about this jail reform. Let's talk about a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, everybody knows, somebody that's in jail for something petty, and they've been locked up for, for months or years at a time.
Yeah.
So Meek Mill, Jay-Z, let me check it out, Michael Rubin, the co-owner of the Philadelphia 76ers, and Robert Kraft, New England Patriots owner, they've come up with a jail reform, which pretty much get, like, those who are arrested for petty crimes, I mean, they try to look into those cases and get those cases thrown out so those individuals are taken out of jail. So, like I said, there's a lot of people that's locked up for
Well, you
petty
said,
crimes.
not to cut you off, but you said Meek Mills. Is he like a rapper?
The rapper, yeah, the
Oh,
rapper
okay.
Meek Mill.
Okay.
Yeah, because he was, he's actually the reason the jail reform is actually pretty much put forward. He was locked up by a judge, for popping willies.
Are you serious?
They charged him with a Class 1 felony.
Are you
He had to do it a year and a half locked up. So, man.
Oh my God.
And he figured while he's locked up, I mean, there's other people. There's 4.5 million people on parole or probation for unreasonable, crimes like tickets, petty marijuana charges. I mean, something has to give.
Are you
Like
serious?
something has to give. So.
That's right. I was on social media, and I'm not quite sure what this young woman, I think was a black woman, young woman. They gave her life in prison for stealing a shirt.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't
There's
believe that.
there's
I
a
was
lot
reading
of
that.
there's a lot of individuals locked up for just small petty crimes. Like I can talk all day about the incident I had. When I was in college going back to Wisconsin, I was pulled over. By six white officers.
Are you
Six white
serious?
officers. Me being a black guy,
Yeah.
driving a nice car. I was just picking up my stuff from school and pulled me over. They found a little joint, which had been in the jury box for almost a year.
Are you serious?
And
Just
so-
for a marijuana
For
paraphernalia?
marijuana. Yeah. So they charged him with a misdemeanor. And until this day, it's just now getting off my record.
Are you
From
serious?
almost
How long
6
ago
years.
was this?
6 years.
6 years?
6, 7 years, yeah.
Wow.
It's just not getting off my record. So, I can understand I get where people coming from with this jail reform because I haven't had like a high crime like that.
Yeah.
But I understand like what it means to be locked up and incriminated for something petty. I mean, that doesn't warrant
And that
long
was
sentences
petty.
like that, man.
And how long was you locked up for that?
It happened Thursday night. I thought I was gonna be able to see a judge Friday.
Uh-huh.
Wasn't a judge available Friday, so I was there until Monday morning.
So you had to wait till
The whole
before you
weekend.
stand
Trampeloue County, Wisconsin.
before the judge. Oh my God.
Trampeloue County, Wisconsin. So yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah, it was interesting.
Crazy.
It was interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure
It definitely was interesting. Something that I always like, as you can tell, I always remember. Like I can remember the incident like it was yesterday. So
I'm sure.
but it's, I moved on from it. I got it taken off my my record. So
Wow.
I haven't had any trouble since then. So
Yeah. bet you won't go back over there.
Oh no, I still go to Wisconsin. I just
do?
don't go through Tripoli, Wisconsin.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
I still make my trips, but I just don't go through Tripoli County. That's all.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, they say that they doing all kinds of crazy stuff now. Stuff, that it's unheard of, petty crimes, you know what I'm saying?
And like a lot of people don't realize the amount of money that's being spent on locking up individuals for these petty crimes. Like, I got some stats right here.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, that was my next question. What is the stats on that?
And these is pretty much just people that's locked up in the U.S., in the major cities. Like New York, there's 8.6 million people locked up for petty crimes. Los Angeles, there's 4 million. Chicago, there's 2.7. Houston, there's 2.2. And that's all the jail population, people that's locked up for petty crimes.
Are you serious?
Petty crimes.
Wow.
And that was the population, it did decrease since 2016, but the amount of people with petty crimes now has gone up. So a lot of the people that's locked up in jail are in there for petty crimes. And you got murderers and rapists. I can't say they're getting off, but they have leeway on their sentences. So, I mean, it's a good idea that Meek Mill and Jay-Z came up with this reform. So hopefully it does help out with those who are locked up for petty crimes.
Oh, yeah, shout out to them. That is crazy. Sorry, I have a little cold.
It's all right.
But that is, But like I was saying, too, that is crazy. And even with this young woman, did you hear about that? That she's supposed to get life in prison or something just for stealing a shirt?
I didn't hear about that incident, but I did hear about another incident. There's a lady who's been locked up for, 6 months, over $545 or something like that. She's out of New York. She's been locked up.
What did she do? Did she steal it?
It was something with her. She couldn't pay fine court legal fees or something like that. So she's been locked up for 6 months for $545. Wow. Which the government has pretty much spent more money keeping her locked up than getting her out, than her being out. So, the system is kind of messed up right now, which is why this jail reform is going to be pretty good. So
it is good. Because I even saw, too, that some people are still in jail, in prison, because they don't have the money
and that's,
for them to bond out.
And that's mainly like the biggest problem, too. Like a lot of people don't have bail money. Wow. I mean, it can be $1,000, $500. I mean, if people don't have it, they just don't have it.
So they don't help, like maybe waive it or something like that?
In certain cases, but certain, different laws of state, and certain states have different laws. And New York is one of the most incriminating. Their laws are pretty strict. Like if you get caught with a gun up there, that's automatic 5 years. Wow. That's automatic 5 years.
What about Chicago?
Here in Illinois, you get caught with a gun. Well, now they're starting to get stricter, but here you get caught with a gun. It's usually first offense, probation, you're thrown out. But now they're starting to get hard on that, and they're giving you mandatory 2 to 3 years. But you got to ask yourself, you give me mandatory 2 to 3 years, how likely am I going to go back and do the same thing? Again. Which is what a lot of these kids are doing. So it's either you reform the sentencing, or you just say, okay, if you're going to do this, we're going to give you this amount of time. Nothing else, this is no ifs, ands, and buts about it. This is what you're going to do. Right. And which I think that'll change a lot of these kids' minds. I'm sure. But
it should. You would think.
You would think that. But at the same time, there's a lot of loopholes around the system, which is why this jail reform is trying to fix a lot of those loopholes. So we'll see how far that goes, though. But I like the reform that they're trying to start. Yeah. I like where they're headed.
Sounds interesting.
And I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. Yeah. We'll definitely see how it plays out.
I have a grandson. He's 18 now, and I talk to him all the time about, if you ever get stopped, he has his driver's license, so he do drive. And I was telling him, if you ever get stopped, grandson, please be polite. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Be very obedient. Yep. Do not get belligerent.
Because now, the real facts are that it is being an African American male, female. Yeah. It's tough being pulled over by cops. That's just the honest reality of it. I don't care how much we try to hide behind it. That's just the honest reality of it. Right. Like being African American, it's tough.
It is tough.
It's tough being pulled over by, officials like that. So, hopefully with this reform, there's some type of guidelines, that'll help out minorities. Yeah. Not specifically trying to target minorities, but most of the minorities that's locked up are locked up for petty offenses.
I heard about that.
So petty drug and traffic offenses. So, it's for us. Yeah. Reform program is pretty much for, minorities, that are locked up for petty offenses. Either way you look at it. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. But, yeah, I did. I have a long talk with him. And even for the other young black, I'm going to just be honest, black men out here, just if you get pulled over, just be submissive, whatever they say. Don't even get out because they're already looking for
You have to. The moment you go to reach for something,
Yes.
I mean, you already causing a problem for yourself. And it's to avoid anything, just say, here you go.
Yeah.
Here's my license, here's my registration, whatever else you need,
Yes.
I'll comply with that.
That's it. That's it.
But at the same time, officers have to be held accountable too.
Absolutely.
Which it comes for, I don't know if this reform is going to go over, like the officials, like police officers, as far as training.
Yeah.
I mean, it should. Like, some money should go towards, like, better training.
Oh, yeah.
Cameras, I mean, stuff like that, which is limited, especially here in Chicago.
Right. Like you said, training. At least they need to know how to handle.
Right.
Some people. Even what about the ones that has mental
Right.
issues?
And it's a good thing you brought that up as far as the mental aspect of it, because a lot of these mental institutions are being shut down.
I know.
For funding.
I know.
So people, and you see people talking and laughing at themselves. People say, oh, they're automatically on drugs or whatnot. It's like, no, that person's not necessarily have to be a drug addict.
Right.
I mean, it has mental issues.
That have mental issues.
Mental,
I'm telling you, mental issues is really serious.
Oh, yeah.
People are kind of like, it seems like some people, they try to sweep it under the rug or, no, that's a very serious issue. And I think people really need to take that very serious, Just like the police officer, I don't know if you heard about it, some time ago, maybe last year, shot the young teenager and the neighbor downstairs.
Oh, yeah.
And he was,
mental issues,
he had mental issues,
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I'm thinking. That was crazy and so sad. You can just imagine what his family is, dealing with, what they going through.
Everybody has somebody dealing with something mental. Everybody, even the person you think that has everything together is dealing with something. Is dealing with something mental. Whether it's stress or your loss of job or something. Something is affecting you.
It is.
And a person tries to be strong and tries to, to silence it and not, acknowledge the problem. I mean, you're making it worse.
Oh, yeah.
You're making it worse. And I know people like that are successful that still have mental issues.
I do too.
I mean, it's a serious issue. Yeah. It's a serious thing. So.
What you think about the guy that was in Aurora, in the warehouse,
Yeah.
That was sad.
Yeah, and then there was another incident I heard. There was a guy killed his girlfriend and his kids.
I heard about
something like that too.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
stuff like. But that's an unfortunate situation because you take young kids' lives.
Yeah.
Like that, I have an issue with.
Me too.
When it comes to that, I have an issue with that.
Yes.
But I mean, who knows what that person, what he was going through at the time. So.
Absolutely. That goes back to the mental issue thing,
Right.
That is something. But, so we're going to kind of talk about, I want to go to another topic that was very interesting, as a matter of fact. Let's talk about happiness. Mm-hmm. I just wanted to kind of, I'm really just trying to get everybody's perspective on happiness. Everybody has a different perspective on happiness. Mm-hmm. What's your perspective on happiness? Meaning, what makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Just being alive. Like,
come on now.
I tell people people tell me all the time, like, well, I always smile. And it's like, I'm alive and well. Like,
man.
I can't complain. Yeah. God woke me up. Hey, I'm breathing.
Man.
I'm able to have a conversation with you and talk with you. So I find true happiness out of that, just waking up every day. But, other things that keep me happy and keep me, I mean, now I spend time with my son.
How old is your son?
Family. My son is 11.
Oh, cool.
Yep, he's 11. Spending time with family, going out with my lady. I mean, just being around family. Just being around that whole family network is, what keeps me happy, keeps me in my comfort zone.
Yeah.
At times, I get out my comfort zone sometimes too. But I mean, just being around that positive energy.
That particular,
being around that energy, keeps me going. Like I'm not a negative person.
Right.
I mean,
what's up.
I'm not there can be something bad that happens. I don't think about it as negative. I'm like, okay. Let's think of this way to, to make it better. Let's see what I can do the next time, to turn into this situation instead of being bad, And people look at me like, man, you're crazy. Like, Man, that's bad. But okay, it's bad, but there's a way I can get around it, to turn it into my favor, whoever's favor that, that I'm with. So that's how I look at my happiness.
Right.
That's how I deal with happiness, so.
I was thinking about that too. I mean, it's like every day I wake up, I'm just grateful. You know what I'm saying? That makes me
That's the
happy,
biggest
like
blessing.
you said, right?
The biggest
just
blessing.
So grateful that God wakes me up, and then I'm blessed with good health and strength.
Right.
And my family is blessed, as well. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, that right there is in a nutshell. That's what makes me happy.
There's I don't mean to cut you off, but there's a good friend of mine. His mom passed like a week or two ago.
I'm sorry.
He was just speaking with her.
Wow.
They just went out, everything, and he got the call she passed. So, I mean, like, you never know. They don't know.
Oh, wow.
Like, I mean, you just never know. So it's like when I wake up, hey, I'm blessed.
Man,
I'm alive and well, so hey, I'm blessed.
That's right.
Like, I can't complain.
You have to count every moment like it's your last, last time.
And I know too many people, they alive.
Yeah.
But are you, how's your life? How are you,
Right.
What's going on with you? They walk around smiling, but deep down inside, they got their demons,
Of
so.
course. And we all struggling with something.
Oh, yeah, we all struggle with something.
We all have shortcomings,
We all struggle with something.
So, and I was thinking about that too. I'm like, you know what? Like I said, I'm just happy to just be alive.
Right.
Just, I'm not sick. I'm not in the hospital. And, for those that's, laying in the hospital, I pray for them.
Oh,
I
yeah.
pray for
And that's all you can do.
and everything.
That's all you can do.
It is, man, nowadays, it is just like you said, just count every day as a blessing.
It's
Every
like me,
moment,
I don't take nothing for granted. Like,
me either.
I'm humble. Like, I don't, like, I mean, that's just how I was brought up,
Right.
and I still carry that on till this day.
Yeah.
Like, it don't matter who I meet, who I come across, I'm going to still, I'm going to treat you with respect.
Exactly.
And if we build a relationship off that, hey, so be it.
Right.
But the remembrance you're going to have of me is like, man, Will, he was always smiling, but he was cool, man. He was real cool. He always smiling. I mean, that's what I want a person to remember from me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I don't want to argue with nobody, and
yeah.
I don't do all that. Like,
energy,
I don't need all that negative argue. I don't need that. Like, I got too much positive energy, to feed into all that negative. So, I don't worry about that.
That's what I'm saying. So, what sustains your happiness?
Like I said, pretty much just like being around my family. Like,
it just give you a nice sense of stability. Just,
that
you know what I'm saying?
And like I said, it's not like I just want to like stay in my comfort zone, like stick to that. I get out of my comfort zone, but when I know I'm getting outside of my element, I can always be like, okay, man, what's such and such gonna put me in my place?
Right.
Well, my lady gonna tell me this, and I'm like, man, you know what, she right. My mom's gonna tell me this, my brother, I always got that feedback, whether I like it or not.
Right.
If somebody's gonna be like, man, you need to stop doing that.
Exactly.
Okay, cool, I know what you're saying.
Right.
Let me get back to doing what I'm doing.
Oh
yeah, you have to.
Well.
You have
to. A lot of people don't though.
You have
to.
to.
That's good.
Like,
that's
I would rather you tell me, oh man, you suck at what you doing.
Right.
This
it
is
makes
what
you better, right?
Be honest with me.
Exactly.
Like I like honesty. If you're honest with me, it's like, okay, cool.
Just keep it 100.
What you need me to do?
Right. That's what I like to do. Just keep it 100 with me, and then I could deal with that. You know what I'm saying? At least I know where you're coming from.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly. And that's just how I look at life. Like when I was in college. I mean, I was a guy from Chicago. Yeah. Young, wild, and I just had this attitude like, man, it's me, and I went up to Minnesota, a whole different atmosphere. It was kind of like a cultural shock, but it wasn't. But at the same time, because like I said, I'm the type of person, I can have a conversation with anybody.
Right, me too.
So.
Me too.
So when. Yeah. But yeah, when I went up there, it was, it was just a cultural shock to me. So. Yeah. I'm still here. I'm alive and well.
I know that's right.
So I can't complain.
I know that's right. I won't complain.
Yeah, exactly.
It ain't gonna do
exactly.
Anyway.
I can't say can't. I won't.
Right. It always say it doesn't do any good anyway. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna change nothing. So I just try to stay happy and just.
That's all you can.
Just keep focused. Stay focused. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, that's all you can.
Yeah. So how do you balance your work and your personal life too? At the same time.
It's tough. It's tough, but I mean, I find ways.
You're a busy man, boy. You got the radio, your
station
radio
working,
show,
home,
working. family, you know.
I mean, it's tough, but I find ways.
Oh, I'm sure.
I find ways.
Okay, that's what's up. So we're gonna, we're gonna come back next time. Tune in to Angie E with Tip the T. We're gonna get back with, we're gonna have Mr. Will Sutton again on the show.
Back.
So we're gonna continue to talk to him. If you want to ask questions, call in. Okay. This is Angie E with Tip the T.
We could.